You have been lied to, because matching images has nothing to do with buying cameras from the same brand. It is not colour science and it is not dynamic range. The real reason that your footage does not match is something people never really talk about. By the end of this video, you will know what to do to fix your multi-camera setup. There is one big misconception I keep seeing when it comes to multi-camera setups and trying to match two different images. People think when they are buying cameras from the same manufacturers that you will automatically get the same look. And I also used to believe this too, because on paper this makes perfect sense. With the same brand you get same log profile, same codec, same colour science, so the images and look should match. But after years of real world shooting scenarios with multi-camera setups, I've learned that there is a lot more that goes on beneath the surface, and this is an area where so many filmmakers are going wrong. I'm going to break down what is actually going on here, and I've got some super easy simple techniques to get your footage matching way better regardless of what two cameras you are going to use. Today I've got a bunch of different cameras, different price points, different form factors and different brands, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Because it turns out it is not the brand that matters the most, and let me show you how I found this out. I've shot multi-camera setups on pretty much every job: corporate, commercial and ads, music videos, weddings, documentaries, and more interviews than I can even remember. And over that time, I kept seeing the same issue pop up again and again. Even when I went out of my way to match the same camera brands for A cam, B cam, even C cam, the footage still did not match. So then I went even deeper, fine-tuning settings, using a grey card to match white balance, colour charts, matching picture profiles, all the right steps. But when I would look back at the footage, something still felt off, and that is when I realised. Matching cameras is like baking a cake. You can use the same recipe, this can be your log profile. You can even use the same oven, this can be your codec. You can use the same toppings and icing, this could be your colour grading and colour science. But if you start with different ingredients, let's say chocolate sponge versus vanilla sponge, you will always end up with a cake that tastes different. The sensor inside of your camera, that is your base ingredients. It defines how your camera handles light, tones, textures, colours. Even if you stick with the same camera brand, but the sensor inside is different, your final look will always be different. And this is why relying on the brand name alone just simply doesn't work. But don't just take my word for it, let's actually test this theory out. So right now I have 5 different cameras. I'm going to lock down all the settings, so the same white balance, the same exposure, and use the same PL mount lens across all cameras. So let's roll the footage, and while we compare these images, I want to tell you about something filmmakers constantly overlook. If you have ever found yourself losing hours digging through music libraries trying to find that one usable track, then you are not alone, and that is exactly why I use Audio Pro. Audio's music library is actually hand-picked, meaning they only accept tracks from legit talented artists and not just anything that gets submitted. It saves me so much time when I'm editing because I'm not scrolling through filler tracks, it's actually all good. And recently they have seriously upped their game with AI. This allows you to copy and paste any link from Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, even TikTok, and this will instantly bring you music close to the one in the link. This is such a massive time saver. And then we have Hands AI, which is my personal favourite. You give it creative prompts, just like you're speaking to another person. You just describe the type of project and tone you want, and it will recommend 5 songs that are incredibly good and perfect for your project. And there's even a new Audio Pro mobile app, so you can build out your track list wherever you are. You guys get an exclusive 70% off of your first year of Audio Pro. That's just $59 for unlimited music, sound effects, and all the Pro AI features I just mentioned. Just hit the first link in the top of the description and use code gary70 at checkout. A massive thank you to Audio for supporting the channel and making this video possible. Now let's get back into it. As you can see, there are 2 Sony cameras and 2 Lumix cameras in this comparison, and none of them match. The reason is simple. All these cameras use different sensors. Yes, they are all full frame, so roughly the same size, but the way these sensors are manufactured, built and designed varies massively. Here's the bit that most people don't realise. There is only a handful of companies in the world that actually manufacture camera sensors. Sony is by far the biggest, and they are followed by Canon, who also make their own sensors. You have companies like Samsung and Omnivision, who make a lot of small camera sensors, and then you have a couple of niche players in the game also. Most camera brands don't make their own sensors, they buy them, and this is referred to as an off-the-shelf sensor, which simply means the sensor is manufactured by one company, purchased by another to be integrated into their own camera system. So yes, you could be shooting on a Sony, Lumix and a Blackmagic, and they all have the same manufactured sensor, normally made by Sony Semiconductor. Now, you will never outright hear brands say this. They often use marketing terms like a unique sensor development in collaboration with Sony Semiconductor, or they will say lines like a unique full-frame development platform, but the base DNA of the sensor is often identical. The difference then comes when each manufacturer start tweaking the sensor. They will use different color cyans, deburring, gamma curves, and all this is the processing pipeline. But essentially, this means that you could have 2 Blackmagic cameras, one manufactured by Blackmagic themselves and the other manufactured by Sony. And this means no matter how much processing pipeline they are put into it, the base DNA and architecture of those sensors will simply look different. And the rabbit hole goes even deeper. In fact, you can get sensor variation on the same manufactured sensor, as this is just a natural part of manufacturing in general. Minor radiation differences in the sensor's wafer, along with temperature differences in the sensor's production process, can all influence how the sensor behaves. This is why high-end cameras like the Arri Alexa have built-in temperature regulators to the sensor to try and mitigate any kind of differences from the outside environment when you are shooting. So the real question we are left with is, how do we get cameras to match even if they are not from the same brand? Unfortunately, there is no singular magical fix that is going to fix this issue and match 2 cameras. Well, not yet anyway, we are still waiting on AI for that one. But the good news is we can stack a couple of techniques on top of each other to get a compound effect to the point where we are damn close and the average viewer would not even be able to tell a difference. Number 1, and we've already touched on this, but honestly this is the easiest and best hack I have found over the years. Often, 2 matching sensors from different brands give you a much better starting point than matching the same brand with 2 different sensors. Number 2, matching to a grey card or even a white piece of paper is crucial. I've learned over the years that even if all of your cameras read 5600 Kelvin or 3200 Kelvin, each brand interprets each white balance slightly different, and this can be a big mistake. So matching to a white paper or grey card is the way forward. Number 3, and this one is massively overlooked, whether it is a matching set of cine lenses or you are just matching AF lenses across all the cameras, lenses play a huge part in image character. They affect contrast, flaring and even colours. Matching all your lenses brings you one step closer to consistency. Number 4, whether you prefer false colour, histogram, waveform, just make sure that you are using the same exposure tool across all different cameras. Relying on each camera's inbuilt multimeter system is often a mistake. They are all tuned totally different, so use one universal way to expose across all the cameras. Number 5, if you are not already doing this, then start. All modern day editing software, Resolve, Premiere, Final Cut, all offer some kind of colour management system, and these allow you to bring in your log profiles from different camera brands and bring them all to a unified colour space, to colour grading, and then export in the Rec 7 or 9. This not only avoids damage from bad LUTs, but it also means that all your colour grading tools will perform the same across all the different log profiles. Number 6. We are incredibly good at spotting small differences when images are side by side. If you have the ability, whether that's via an Atmos monitor or a Blackmagic ATEM or even a HDMI splitter, once you start seeing on set those images side by side, you will instantly start spotting differences in contrast, colour and even exposure. This applies in post-production too. Always view your clips next to each other side by side on a colour calibrated monitor. You'll be surprised how you instantly start noticing the differences in contrast, brightness and colour. Just before you go below and jump into the comment section and start letting us all know, there are other benefits to buying the same brand, like lenses, batteries, accessories. I totally get it. But this was about the reason of matching images and to help people in their multi-camera setups. And now that your cameras are matching much better, you are definitely going to want to know where the future of cinematic lenses are heading.